Looking back on my childhood, I can't help but think that if the 1980s did anything right, it was music and video games. Unfortunately, those rose-tinted viewing glasses of yesterday do somewhat alter the fact that most of what was produced was utterly reprehensible. For every MDC, there was a Crocus. For every They Might Be Giants, a Men Without Hats. For every Super Mario Bros., an E.T., and for every Rush, there was a Journey. For those unfamiliar with Journey, they were essentially the Nickelback of their day. Overwrought, hyper-commercial sock puppets who would be forgotten by now had not Rodney Dangerfield jiggled his geriatric jello to their song Any Way You Want It in Caddyshack, cementing the notion in the collective mind of the frat brotherhood that Any Way You Want It is synonymous with party time. In 1981, Journey nearly conquered the world with their commercially successful yet musically vacuous album, Escape. In 1982, Data Age attempted to capitalize on this fame by releasing Journey Escape for the Atari 2600. The back of the box sums it up. A rock concert can be perilous for the performers, even for one of the world's hottest groups, Journey. Will you be able to guide all 5 members of the group to the safety of their famous Scarab escape vehicle before the time runs out? Will you be able to protect the $50,000 concert cash? Or will you be foiled by stage barriers, groupies, photographers, and promoters? The action is hot and heavy, just like at a Journey performance. Before we get to the game, I'd like to take a moment to submit the following. In 2 instances, this description either refers to Journey as hot and heavy, or one of the world's hottest groups. As my rebuttal, here's a little bit of Open Arms, the highest rated song from Escape, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Lying beside you, here in the dark, feeling your heartbeat with mine.
If you think I picked the one bad song, here is Who's Crying Now, which reached number 4 on the charts.
It's been a mystery, but still they try to see why something good can hurt so bad.
Quod erat demonstrandum. Journey Escape is a simple enough game. You have to make it from point A to point B while dodging obstacles and keeping under the time limit. You individually control all 5 members of the band, Steve Perry, Neil Schon, Ross Valerie, Steve Smith, and Jonathan Cain, as they attempt to run through what appears to be outer space. You start the game with $50,000 and 60 seconds on the clock. The goal is for all 5 members to make it to the ship in time and retain $50,000. Running into enemies hinders your speed and takes some money. Love-crazed groupies take $300, shifty-eyed promoters take $2,000, the paparazzi take $600, and though they don't take any money, the stage barriers slow you down considerably. To aid in your flight, loyal roadies give you temporary invulnerability, and your mighty manager, the Kool-Aid Man, not only grants you invulnerability for the remainder of the stage, but also gives you $9,900. If you make it to the ship in under the allotted time, the remaining time is added to the next band member, and you get $100 per remaining second. When you start the game, you're greeted by an Atari rendition of Don't Stop Believin', as the Journey Scarab ship fires at an unseen adversary. Once the game starts, you still have the option of when you want to start. Until you press the fire button, the clock won't start, so you can wait for a particularly nasty group of obstacles to pass you by before beginning. Though the screen moves with a continuous scroll, you can speed this up by running, which is actually required to make it to your ship in time, but this moves you toward the top third of the screen, increasing the difficulty. Though I like a difficult game, I prefer the difficulty to come from the puzzles and challenges instead of a lack of visibility. Despite this, navigating the course is easy to the point of monotony, even while running. As you play successive members of the band, the difficulty does increase, but this is offset by the extra time accumulated from the previous band members. Enemies become faster and appear with more frequency, but even a sloppy player such as myself can expect to successfully navigate all 5 band members to their ship. As a reward, you're treated to roughly 15 seconds of the intro screen with Don't Stop Believin' playing before the whole thing starts over. That's it. It's a short game. There's really nothing else. Though the difficulty increases somewhat, the difficulty curve is too shallow to generate any real replay value, and after the novelty wears thin, which doesn't take very long, you're left with a game which is at best mediocre. It's entertaining enough while it lasts, but I typically play this game for around 15 minutes before I put it back on the shelf and leave it there for several months, and that's enough. Given the subjectivity of the medium, I'm really not a fan of assigning games an arbitrary rating based on how I feel about a game on a particular day. I've done this in the past and I apologize. That being said, if you're new to the Atari and just trying to get a feel for the library of games, I would avoid this one. But if you're intent on growing your collection, this game is common enough to be pretty cheap. Just be sure to bundle it with some other games so you don't waste the shipping charges. I'd really like to delve a little deeper, but there's really nothing to delve into, so I am the dork with no name, and I obsess over trivial matters. Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. She took a midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took a midnight train going anywhere. And to show just how short this game is, here is my complete playthrough.